runs this event for the last 3 years. This is sadly, whatever, this is going to be my last year as chair. I don't want to get burnt out and ruin the event for my laxity. This event does not happen without the support of dozens of people. The committee, which are all represented in the back of the book, the judges, and I'm not going to read all the names because there are many of them, are all a big part of this event, bigger than what I do in many ways. And then, of course, the biggest part of the event, this is an entirely donation-funded. The trip to Washington, the prizes, etc., are all funded by donations from people in the community. And the list of our donors is also in the back of the program. If you would like to consider donating, we obviously would appreciate any donations from anyone. The event has been financially very successful. It is sponsored by the City of Akron, but the City of Akron does not contribute financially in any way to this. They do have personnel that assist in a variety of tasks, but the financial cost is all borne by the trust fund. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point, and we have several people that are going to speak, and we're going to start with David Jennings, who's going to give a message of welcome from the library.
Thank you, Dan. This is the 26th City of Akron Holocaust Commemoration Program, and it is the 24th City of Akron Holocaust Arts and Writing Contest award ceremony. I believe this is the 7th year that we've had the program in this auditorium. We're proud to host this. It's gotten to the point where, frankly, I cannot imagine this program taking place anywhere else. So I hope it continues to be here. I'd like to say two things. One is that there's somebody sitting here next to me that is always giving credit to other people, and that's Billy Soul. Billy Soul has been marshaling this program for many, many years, and I appreciate if you give him a round of applause. Billy, thank you for all of that. And I'd like to congratulate and applaud our young people here today for your willingness to learn and your willingness to create. Real education is when you can look at the world in a little different way than you did yesterday. And so I applaud you for that, and I hope you keep learning, keep creating, and most of all on today's program, never forget. So having said that, I'll turn the program back over to Dan.
Thank you, Dave. One of the pieces of our trip to Washington historically was we used to go visit our local representatives and senators. Unfortunately, because of the time that it takes to do that, we've cut that piece from our trip, and we just do museums and other historic monuments in addition to the Holocaust Museum. And no offense to the representatives and senators, but they're busy, and we spent more time waiting than we did talking, which was unfortunate because we really valued that time. But we do have this morning a message of greeting from Senator Sherrod Brown's office, and Max Blackman from the office is going to come up and give us a welcome greeting.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you for your good work in making this a reality. And Billy, of course, thank you for your work and for the opportunity just to say a few words today. My name is Max Blackman, and I'm Senator Sherrod Brown's representative in Northeast Ohio. I know the senator would have wanted to be with us today. They are in session. Maybe we could have you meet with them again in the future. But I just wanted to say that this is such a critical event for this community. And many of us are wearing pens that say Zachor. It means to remember. And you've heard the phrase, never forget. And we know that those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And all of you as students who have participated in this contest are making sure that we never forget what happened in the last century so that we learn from it and we grow from it. So I thank you for what you've done, and you're all contributing to making this world just a little bit better, and that is a rich, beautiful concept in Judaism of tikkun olam, to repair the world. So thank you for repairing the world. Thank you for making sure that the lessons of the last century are not lost in this one. And please continue doing the great work that all of you are doing. So thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we're going to move to the actual presenting of awards part of the ceremony, and in order to announce the names and so on, Carla Davis from the library is going to come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations to all of our winners. I'm going to read the names of the students and the category and the title of their piece. And then, let's see, I believe there's someone who will be taking pictures, or someone will be pausing slightly to take a photo. No? Okay. All right. Well, if we're ready to begin, first place, Visual Art, Division 1, Children's Dreams Melted Away by Erica Pinto. Congratulations. Second place, Visual Art, Division 1, Ashes and Tears, A Menagerie of the Children's Pain by Maggie Cox. Congratulations, ladies. Third place, Visual Art, Division 1, A Life Unfinished by Jordan Gaume. And we'd like to congratulate those three who are at Hudson Middle School, teacher Jennifer Lawler. Fourth place, Visual Art, Division 1, Fragile Nightmare, Molly Haynes, Megan Hamilton, and Helena Cresa. These ladies are in the 6th grade at St. Sebastian School. Katrina Stoneman is their instructor. Honorable mention, Visual Art, Division 1, Innocent Memories by Molly Chelovitz. Molly's in the 6th grade at Miller South. Bonnie Wachter is the teacher. Honorable mention, Visual Arts, Division 1, They Were Too Young to Die. Zoe Dudak. Sixth grader at Miller South School. Congratulations. Zoe. Okay. Honorable mention, Visual Arts, Division 1, Children of Wars, Then and Now. Please welcome Natalie Bacon. She's an 8th grader at Hudson Middle School. Honorable mention, Visual Art, Division 1, A Split Union by Mason Lorch. Congratulations, Mason. He's a 6th grader at Miller South School. Honorable mention, Visual Art Division 1, Don't Forget Me by Madison Hudak. Madison's in the 8th grade at Hudson Middle School. Honorable mention, Visual Art, The Voice of One Child Can Change the World by Mr. Javon Colvin Hatchett. Arlington Christian Academy, 7th grade. Teacher is Geneva Brandon. Congratulations. Visual Art, Division 1, The Stars That Shined Through the Darkness, Allie Martin. Allie is an 8th grader at Hudson Middle School. Visual Art, Division 1, The Tree of the Forgotten by Leah Mulligan and Alan Torrance. We congratulate these students from Hudson Middle School as well. First place, Visual Art, Division 2, Along the Trail by Nick Del Pupo. Nick is in the 11th grade at Mogador High School. Mr. Barish is your teacher. Congratulations, yes. Second place, Visual Art Division 2, Candlelit Memories by Casey Zong. Casey's in the 11th grade at Springfield High School. Congratulations, Casey. Third place, Visual Art Division 2, Lesson Learned by Victoria Leckenbaugh. Our Lady of the Elms, where she is in the 11th grade. Congratulations. Fourth place, Visual Art Division 2, The Lost Child. Megan Tomei, St. Vincent St. Mary High School, grade 12. We congratulate her. Honorable mention, Visual Art Division 2, Did I Have a Childhood? Shannon? Okay, Shannon, congratulations. Moving on to Eris Holmes. No, Aaron's not here. All right, how about Tiffany? No? How about Samantha? They must all be busy, I tell you today. Honorable mention, Kennedy? Yes, please welcome. Division 2, God Save Us. Kennedy Hahn, Springfield High School, where she is in the 10th grade. Congratulations. Please welcome Kevin Myers, The Game of Life, Visual Art, Division 2, Springfield High School. Congratulations. And is that Zach? All right. Visual Art Division 2, Strung Up by Zach Butler, Springfield High School. Zach is in the 11th grade. I know Sarah is here. Please welcome Sarah Gross. Visual Art Division 2. Her piece is titled Innocence. She's from Springfield High School. She's in the 12th grade. Congratulations. And next, please welcome Me and Teddy by Angela Maddox. We congratulate Angela. She's a senior at Springfield High School. Congratulations. Visual Art Division 2, What Did We Do Wrong? By Abby Hurst. Congratulations, Abby. Springfield High School, grade 12. Moving on to first place, Multimedia, Division 1, Calamity, by Emma Beecham and Natalie Lloyd. They are 8th graders at Hudson Middle School. Second place, Multimedia, Just Kids, Even Children Suffered. Please welcome Kate Greer and Kristen Young. Also in the 8th grade at Hudson Middle School. And next we have second place, Multimedia, The Children of Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow by Caitlin Lindow and Emma Rillara. We congratulate these 8th graders from Hudson Middle School as well. Moving on to third place, Multimedia, Division 1, Holocaust Newsflash by Bree Chambers, Mason Scott, and Gracie Fanasu. Congratulations to these 6th graders from Miller South School. And next we have first place, Multimedia Division, The Children of the Holocaust, Words of a Generation by Joshua Bartley and Alexa Benier. They are in the 11th grade at Green Middle School. High school. Yes, that's important. Yes, that's right. Joshua's like, get it right, okay. Second place, Multimedia, Division 2, A Tragic Lullaby. Please welcome Megan Woods. She's in the 11th grade at Green High School as well. Congratulations. Third place, Division 2, A Ravaged Childhood by Mark Dahlman and Ryan McNeil. And these young men are in the 11th grade at Green Middle School as well. Thank you. Well, Green High School. I will not put you back in middle school. Maybe that's my wish, I don't know. Honorable mention, Multimedia, Division 2, Lost, Afraid, Alone. Please welcome Lisa Rardin and Kat Schwartz. Green High School in the 11th grade. Congratulations, ladies. Okay, and now we're moving to first place writing, Division 1. Only a Child by Kate Klitka. But accepting for Kate is her sister, Jill Klitka. I think this is only the beginning of Jill accepting awards here. Very good. Thank you. Congratulations to Kate. Second place writing division, Crafting a Child's Soul by Claire Morgenstern, Miller South, grade 7. In third place writing, Division 1, Aunt Anna by Sarah Weeks. We congratulate Sarah. She's in the 8th grade at Copley Fairlawn Middle School. Okay. We're going to take a station break. Okay, wanted to double check with the people in charge. First place, writing division, permanent markers, Noel Collant. Please welcome Noel. From Our Lady of the Elms, High School, grade 11. Congratulations, Noel. Okay. Next, second writing, Division 2, The Selection by Jean Panakotu. He is in the 11th grade at Green High School. And in third place, writing Division 2, La Maison, The House, by Wesley Pang. He's in the 12th grade at Green High School. And fourth place writing division, Victoria Stevens. Victoria's piece is titled Childhood Lost, and she's from Green High School as well, where she's in the 11th grade. And last but not least, please welcome honorable mention writing division 2, Brooke Foster. Her piece is titled Taken, and she's in the 11th grade at Green High School. Thank you.
Okay, now we've got the important stuff out of the way. I'd just like to say that in some contests, an honorable mention is sort of as a secondary thought. In this contest, this is a very competitive field of people. There are a lot of people who didn't get honorable mentions, and all of the pieces are very difficult for the judges to decide who wins first, second, one of the reasons we have so many honorable mentions is because there are many of you who are deserving of honorable mention, and there's really some excellent pieces. I recommend anyone who hasn't gone downstairs to see the art, go downstairs and see it. Also, the writing pieces are available in the notebook. Many of the writing pieces are in the back of your program. And I believe there's directions down there how to get online to see the multimedia pieces. In the past, that hasn't been so easy, but we've got the multimedia pieces available online so you can see them. So please view them all there. For parents out there, some of these pieces are hard to read without having tears come to your eyes. The years when we do a children-based theme are especially difficult, and this is one of those. There's really some very powerful work been done both in art and in writing. So I appreciate anybody spending time with that. We're going to have a piano solo for our interlude. We have about a 5-minute break here. Lydia Harrison is going to do a couple of pieces for us for the interlude. I think she's going to do an Adele piece, Someone Like You, for this interlude. And at noon again, we will start with the presentation. And I should have mentioned before, Leo Silberman is going to be our speaker in the second half of our presentation, and we will introduce him formally then. Again, for those of you who just entered, I'm Dan Markowitz. I have been the chair of this Holocaust Commemoration Committee for the last couple of years. It's really an honor to serve with this group of people, a really dedicated group of people who volunteer their time and effort to judge this contest, to work on the committee, and so on. The names and the amount of work they do is really too numerous to mention. As was mentioned earlier, Billy Soul has been the driving force of this group for a long time. There are many committee members who deserve lots of mention in this. Their names are all appearing in the back of the program. Also equally important in the back of the program are the donors, people who have donated cash to support this organization. This is a program sponsored by the City of Akron, but funded entirely by the Holocaust Memorial Trust Fund, which is administered by the City of Akron, but is funded entirely from private donation. So we would appreciate consideration of a donation for funding the program. The donations go to support this event, support the winning prize, the trip to DC, as well as, I didn't mention earlier, we provide book scholarship money to the teachers so that they can help stock their school libraries with books important in learning the lessons of the Holocaust. I'd appreciate during and I didn't mention this earlier, and luckily no one's phone rang or even mine didn't ring. Make sure you push that little button on the side that does mute so that we don't have any entertaining tunes in the middle of when the mayor's speaking or something like that. It can be very embarrassing. So please turn your phones off or on mute, please. With that, I would like to introduce Rabbi Mindy Sasonkin, who will be providing our invocation for today's commemoration event.
With the wonders of the internet, able to read newspapers from all over the world. So yesterday, I saw the story in Israeli paper. 2 months after the Holocaust, there's this thin young man who knocked on a little house in eastern Poland. And the lady that opened up the door knew him from before the war. This was Revere. He was 22 years old at this time, and he ran away from the ghettos when the Nazis entered there, and he hid in the woods. He asked her if she has some matches so he can use, to warm up and to cook some food when he was in the wood. And she said to him, "Don't you know that the war is over already, like 3 months? This writer in the Israeli paper, she interviewed this man. Today, he is 90 years old. His name is Roberto, and he lives with his wife Hannah of 65 years, also a Holocaust survivor. They had to run away from Poland after the war to Cuba. But from Cuba they had to run again. Another evil man there, Fidel Castro. And today they live in Miami Beach. The Holocaust caused people like Roberto, when you see how evil people can be and immoral, you lose faith in humanity. Even if the war was over, he didn't believe that people can be any more moral. Not only them, there are today people also who may make us think that people cannot be moral, people like Ahmadinejad or others. So our job today is to restore faith in humanity and to show that people could be moral. And thanks to the city of Akron, who is having a leading effort in that, and you, young people, young men and young women, who are leading by example. So may God bless you to continue to be this shining example and inspire others to be moral and good human beings. And let us say, amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Okay, and next, and it's always a pleasure to introduce the mayor, the Honorable Donald Pasquale, Mayor of the City of Akron, who's been a major supporter behind this event for the many years that he's been mayor. So with that, Mr. Pasquale.
Thank you very much, and welcome all of you. Thank you for coming to be here with us on this important event that, as I'm sure has been said before, is an annual event that was started many years ago to help Dorothy Jackson and others here to make certain that we do probably one of the most important things in society, and that is we learn from history. And in this case, we learn the most important lesson and accept a major principle that it shall never happen again, thanks to the efforts of many individuals, including teachers and principals and these great students who helped us refresh our memory. And so I want to thank Committee Chairman Dan Markowitz, Contest Coordinator Claire Hested, and fundraising co-chairs Tom Mandel and Gary Himmel, and the contest committee members, and of course Billy Soul has taken over the responsibility of helping put this together, and I appreciate his work and all of the folks at the city who have continued this effort. This really is one of the most remarkable and I think memorable in another way events, programs that I have the opportunity to attend, and I measure that sometimes by looking and watching young people. And I can tell you, young people today aren't any different. I know some of you probably are an age where you question whether they're different than you were when you were that age, but we all, when we're teenagers, are fidgety and we're thinking about 100 other things that are more important, the girlfriends and the boyfriends and the dances and the things. But I believe that there's nothing that I have witnessed that is so significant to have watched year in and year out teenagers sitting here riveted to this stage, because the messages are so unbelievable and so emotional, and something that's worth remembering and worth spending your time, even as a teenager, and all the important things going on in their lives. It's so emotional and powerful that I've watched them literally not move and watch the speakers. because just as our speaker here, Mr. Silberman, sharing with us some periods, days, times of his life that were not comfortable, his sharing helps us remember. His sharing helps rivet in our mind the pictures that he, I'm sure, has that he could never forget. And by our coming together and listening, hopefully we always remember the lessons to be learned from the mistakes. What seemed to be so far away in today's world seems like just around the corner over the little body of water we call the Atlantic. So I thank you today, the teachers, the mentors, the parents, adults on every level that have helped to create and continue this program. The artwork, the essays, the pictures that young people bring to us in this contest are all winners in one way, but some of them are so unbelievably talented that it reminds us once again of young people and the great things that they're doing here. So I lastly want to thank the students for your commitment to this. In your busy lives, all the things that you have to do in your growing up process and listening to your teachers teach and memorize things and work on other things that are so important. I thank you for helping us remember, for sharing the message that is so important. And I really congratulate each and every one of you. And I thank all of you for coming and listening and participating here today in this important event that I think, unfortunately, the older I get and the more I'm hopeful that our world has changed, we only need to turn on CNN to see someplace in the world, literally right now, where some of the same kinds of things, horrible things being done by human beings to other human beings are taking place. And so today it becomes even more important as our leaders of the future start to try to make those decisions based on the things that they learned today. So thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If anyone can follow the mayor, Dorothy Jackson can. Dorothy Jackson is a strong proponent of this event and was heavily involved in this event during her career with the city of Akron. And as I just discovered, and this was sort of an oh-duh moment, we have a new school that's participating this year, the Arlington Christian Academy, that has participated for the first time, and we welcome them and hope they participate in many future years. And I learned from Dorothy that, of course, still working behind the scenes to help the commemoration event, Dorothy sort of pointed this out to them and showed them the benefits of this program, and we really appreciate that. And Dorothy's here to present the Best of the Best award.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say thanks to all of the teachers and the committee. And Gary, I think you belong up here. Gary doesn't like for me to start with him, but Gary, come on. Although I was born in 1933, and I remember my parents sitting by the radio listening to what was happening with the radio on the chair, I really didn't know about the Holocaust until I came to the city of Akron. Gary and I were appointed to the mayor's cabinet at the same time. And Gary brought it to our attention. And Gary taught us. And he brought teachers along with him. And Esther is still teaching. And I am still learning. And I am so grateful to be here. Only winners are getting the awards today. Only winners participate in it. Because as Barbara Streisand sang, memories like the corners of my mind. Misty waters, color memories of the way we were. And we must never forget. And I'm grateful that the committee gave to me the honor of having the best of the best in my name. And so I would like to invite this year's winner to please join me on stage. And her name is Noelle. Hold on. Noelle. Of the Elms High School and her teacher, Mrs. Elaine Pippin, was one of the teachers when I was on the committee, and I'm so grateful for the commitment that they still make. Days of Remembrance 2012 Award, Dorothy O. Jackson Award, Best of the Best. Noel Kalant, Permanent Markers in the City of Akron Holocaust Arts and Writing Contest, April 17, 2012. Children of the Holocaust, 1933 to 1945. And I love your closing line because it says, they all said again just before Benjamin, Nana, did you forget? No, I didn't. Promise me you'll never forget. And let's all say together, I promise. I promise.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Noel. That's one of those pieces that the parents here can relate to, that will bring tears to your eyes when you read it. Next, I have the honor of introducing one of my fellow committee members who will introduce our speaker today, Rochelle Obrecht, who works for the Beacon Journal.
Hello, everyone. It is my great pleasure that I'm able to introduce our guest speaker who we've been waiting to hear from. I know many of you were looking forward to talking with him and have already done so before the event. His name is Leo Silberman, and he's sitting right next to me here. And I had the pleasure of first meeting Leo today. I spoke several times with him over the phone and eagerly awaited for his arrival as well. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him because I don't want to give away his story. That's what he's going to do today, is share his story with you. When Leo was 14 years old, the Germans invaded his hometown in Poland, and they separated him from his family. This was the last time that Leo saw his parents, his two brothers, his two sisters, and many of his extended family. For the next 5 years, Leo survived several slave labor camps and concentration camps. After liberation, Leo was sent to a displaced persons camp in Germany, and that's where he met his future wife, Paula. In 1949, Leo sailed to America and settled in Iowa. 2 years later, Leo moved to Cleveland. He married his wife and learned the electrical trade. Within a few years, he started his own company. And now he has 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Leo serves as president of Kol Israel Foundation, the Holocaust Survivors organization in Cleveland. He is a board member of the Maltz Museum of the Jewish Heritage and the Jewish Family Service Association. He's also on the committee for needy Holocaust survivors. To this day, he continues to speak with middle and high school students throughout the area. And he's here today to share his story with you. So please welcome Leo Silberman.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Thanks to the mayor, and thank you to all of you who came to hear a Holocaust survivor. And I'm going to tell you just a small portion that I had to go through during the Holocaust. When the Germans invaded Poland in 1939, the Jews were forced to wear armbands bearing the Star of David. They took away our businesses and property, making life very hard. We were also restricted from traveling 1 mile out of the city limits. When food became scarce, I removed my armband and took my bicycle to a nearby farm to buy bread and potatoes for my family. I wasn't afraid of the Germans stopping me with my blonde hair. By the way, I changed the color now. With my blonde hair and green eyes, I didn't fit the stereotype of a Jew. But I was afraid that one of my Polish neighbors would turn me in. I was 14 years old at the time. Up until the occupation, life was pretty typical in an Eastern European family. I was one of 7 children. My father was selling sewing machines, bicycles, and small farm equipment. I went to a public school where I tended to be a little social in my class. As punishment, my teacher made me sit in the back of the window. Little did she know it was no punishment at all, because from that seat, I could see my father's shop and what was going on. For the next 2 years, we were forced to do physical labor for the Nazis. In 1941, all of the Jews were assembled in the town square, where we were separated by age and gender. My brother David and I were taken to the forced labor camp, Plaszow, Poland, where we didn't see our parents no more. In 1938, I would be 30 years before I could see my sister again, because she, in 1938, was immigrated to Israel. At that time, there was no Israel, it was Palestine. After 30 years, in 1968, I took my family and we went to visit her for the first time. I was taken to a concentration camp, Plaszow, with the Jewish cemetery of Krakow, Poland. We were forced to use the tombstones from the graves to pave the streets of the camp. You may recognize the name from the movie Schindler's List. Among other things, we built railroads for the Germans. In 1943, I was transferred to a large ammunition factory in Skarżysko, Poland, where I would be made to fill tank shells with gunpowder for the German military. We arrived at night, but even in the dark, I could see there was something wrong with the prisoners in the camp. Their skin had turned green from the toxic exposure to the gunpowder. I knew this job means certain job, dead. So the next day, when the guards asked for mechanics, I raised my hand and I became a mechanic. We were taken to, not far from this from this camp, to a factory where I was given a third-rate machine to operate. Luckily, a Polish prisoner showed me how to operate the machine I was given. By the way, this was in Poland, a large ammunition factory, where a lot of Poles came to work every day. As the Russians started advancing, I was taken to Buchenwald, Germany. Buchenwald was one of the first and largest concentration camps built by Hitler. From that camp, we were marched to the city of Weimar, where we manually cleared the rubble after the Allied bombings. The British were bombing the daytime, the Americans were bombing at night. One time, while we were moving the debris, the air raid sirens went off. Our Nazi guards ran for cover, leaving us alone in the street. I ran into one of the nearby houses, looking for food. Knowing people went to the bomb shelter. Whenever sirens went off, the people ran to the bomb shelters. I found that pot rose still on the stove. It was too hot to hold it. So I ripped off a piece of my shirt, took out the roast, and we shared with the rest of the prisoners. In 1945, as the Americans were nearing Buchenwald, all of the Jewish men were marched toward the railroad station to be sent to our deaths. In an attempt to escape, I slowly fell behind the group, but was caught by the Nazi guard, who hit me and knocked out my teeth. To my surprise, the others continued to march over me as I lay on the ground. When they were gone, I went back to the barracks, but not to the one I was living in. I ran into a barrack where Polish people were there. By the way, Buchenwald, Germany was one of the largest. There were 60,000 prisoners there, and not just Jews. There were Poles and Czechs and Russians, all nationalities. I ran into this Polish barrack, and I tore off the P, because each one was identified with the Poles, Germans. The only Jews were wearing the armband with the Jewish star. I tore off the armband and I became a Pole, not more Jewish. But when the British and most Americans were marching into Buchenwald, they took us out a day before. We marched to the railroad station, where we were putting in cattle cars. But the Germans did not have a locomotive to pull us away. So they brought in a small diesel. That diesel would pull us about 20 kilometers away from Buchenwald. And the following day, we had to throw out all the skeletons from the people who died overnight for hunger, starvation, and disease. And they brought in a large locomotive. And that day, the Americans liberated Buchenwald. We were, excuse me, we were packed in the cattle cars again and transported into Terezin, Czechoslovakia. And meanwhile, Buchenwald was, like I told you, liberated. At the time I was liberated from Theresienstadt, Germany had already surrendered. But the Gestapo still put up fight. And we could not be liberated. So, by the next day, the Russian army was near Prague, Czechoslovakia. And Terezin is very close to Prague. So the Red Cross notified the Russian army that they were going to drop a bomb on Terezin, because they didn't have enough time to kill us otherwise. So the following day, the Russians came in and liberated us in Terezin. When my grandson Jordan was in Prague in 2006, he visited the place over there and wanted to see if if he could find my name there. Because the Germans were very good about keeping records. He did find my name. After liberation, I was supposed to register with the Russian authority and then be sent back to Poland. I was not yet 20 years old. I had lost my entire family, had no desire to go back to a country soaked in Jewish blood. Some survivors who did go back were met by Poles who were surprised and disappointed that Hitler had not killed all of us. I decided not to register. When the Jewish Brigade was fighting with the British, part of the Jewish Brigade soldiers from them came in to Terezin to help us survivors. I was part of a group of young people who were smuggled into, we were supposed to be smuggled into Palestine. The brigade bribed the Russian officer in charge to direct the train over. Instead of going to the Polish border, we went to Linz, Austria. Linz was very close to the Italian border. There, the brigade met us and told us at night they will come with trucks and we were going to go to Italy. At night the trucks came and we ran over to the Italian border, but unfortunately we couldn't get in, they wouldn't let us in. The Americans also were liberating Italy. So they wouldn't let us in. No matter how much we begged and cried, we just came out from camps, they wouldn't let us go. When they found out, they put us in a warehouse. The following day, we were sent to a displaced person camp named Landsberg, Germany. Landsberg, Germany was the place where Hitler, before he came to power, wrote the book Mein Kampf. In Landsberg, I went to school. I learned how to drive, and I was working with American Motor Pool, driving a GMC truck to Munich, Germany, which was 40 miles from Landsberg, to bring food and clothing for the prisoners in the camp. I also had a second job giving out rations, bread and milk for the people in the camp. Landsberg, Germany. I was in Landsberg, Germany for 4 years. Didn't have any sponsorship because people who had sponsors, like in the United States, Canada, Australia, all over the world, were allowed to leave. But I didn't have any sponsorship, so I had to leave, and so many others. Until 1949, then as President Truman opened up the gates to let the displaced person camp and Holocaust survivors to go to the United States. I left Germany June the 2nd, and I arrived in New York on July the 2nd. July the 2nd was naturally, we arrived on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday was a holiday. My destination was not New York. We got to New York. My destination was Council Bluffs, Iowa, which no one knew in New York. When I was asking, where's Council Bluffs, Iowa, no one knew. They thought there was something wrong with me. But my destination, when the gentleman came over with a ticket, but I had a ticket to go to the station and go to Council Bluffs, I begged him to stay because I knew there was some family, not a family, but a person who knew almost like family, who left the Germany a few months before me. And I found out that he was living in Coney Island, New York. So I asked him if he would let me stay. I said, this is a holiday, please let me know, I have nobody here. So he agreed, and I promised him that I say, after the holiday, I will come down where the office is, I'll pick up my ticket and go to Pennsylvania. which I did. But on the way to Coney Island, we took the train actually to Coney Island. And in Germany, and especially in Europe, they were a little more threat than here, like in New York, we came. It was like a holiday, people came on the train. And the holiday, second, 4th of July, it was hot. We boarded the train and we had a seat to sit down. The next station, people came up and there was no place where to sit down because it was full. I stood up and there was a lady there and I says, sure you can sit down. My friend said, this is America. When you sit, you sit. Don't let anybody else. Anyway, my destination was not a pleasant because, first of all, I didn't speak the language. I'm still learning, but at that time, I knew very little. So I got my ticket and I was supposed to go to transfer from Chicago to Council Bluffs. When I finally found Chicago and the train, so how will I even know when to get off? So I asked the conductor who came to check my ticket. This is me, Council Bluffs, which it was nice. When we arrived finally after a whole night on the train, he told me next stop is Council Bluffs. In Council Bluffs, the reason I went to Council Bluffs because they sponsored me. And I was the only Holocaust survivor. It's a small city, small Jewish community. And a gentleman came because they notified them in New York that they're sending a Holocaust survivor. He came to the station and he took me to a boarding house. Got a room, and he told me, you rest up, tomorrow I'll come to see you, and I'll take you to the Jewish Community Center. Which he did. That evening we went to the Jewish Community Center, everybody came to see how a Holocaust survivor looks like. We wanted to know what was going on and all of that stuff. When we got down, the president of the community came up to me and he says, Leo, he's, I believe it was $5, which was a lot of money then. He says, you probably will need for cigarettes, or if you want to buy Coke. For some reason, I refused. I still don't know to do why, but I refused. I didn't take it. I said, thank you. So he asked me, what would you like instead? I said, a job. So later on, I found out he made it with me. So the following day, two gentlemen came to the house where I had a room. And there was another dilemma where I can't go on two jobs. One of them had, so I asked him, what would be the job and what am I going to do? They didn't look for a mechanic. So one of them had a grocery store and the other had a furniture store. To your surprise, and I selected the guy with the grocery store. Because I figured he was still hungry. So I went to the grocery store, which I worked over there for 2 years. And Council Bluffs, Iowa, is very close to Omaha. You just go over the bridge. Matter of fact, the store I was working in was very close to the bridge. I went every weekend at the night school in Omaha, played soccer. And after 2 years, I decided to go to Cleveland. I came to Cleveland to meet my wife again because I met her in Landsberg, Germany. But she came to Cleveland before I did to the United States. They came before because her mother had family, so they could go before. After 2 years, I came to Cleveland, and I met my wife again. I got an electrical job because I was having in some gloves. I had one job in the grocery store. Then I went on the second job to Omaha to learn the trade as an electrician. After 2 years, I left there. I came to Cleveland. In 1951, we were married. We raised 3 children who lived nearby, 6 wonderful grandchildren. And our first grandchild. Even though I had an unimaginable past, I thank God for the good life. Thank you.
Does anyone want to ask Leo any questions? No one? We have a few minutes. Everyone's too shy. Well, Leo will be available for a few minutes. Oh, here we go. Yes.
How is your life now after the Holocaust? You and your wife. I mean, do you still have relapses of remembering, or is it all pretty much?
Yes, my younger years, then work. My children asked me to talk about this, which I was talk about. But now we got to let know that young people what the Holocaust was about. This, what you heard from me was a small, tiny fraction. And this should never have happened.
Can't hear him.
This is what I'm trying to do. There's people all over. Anybody else? Yes.
Did you stay faithful throughout the Holocaust?
Can you please speak up?
Did you stay faithful throughout the Holocaust?
Faithful to what?
To God.
Oh, faithful to God. Oh, we didn't. We were looking for food, not for God. Not that. That's why we're trying to make up now. Right here. Yes.
How many people did you see die?
How many people died?
Yeah.
We light 6 candles for 6 million people.
So it's, how many people did you actually see?
What was the question, please? Oh, how many people? All right, now I'm studying in Buchenwald, which was the largest concentration camp. Every morning, 2 people were assigned to remove the dead people. They came out with a wheelbarrow, throw out the people. They were taken to the ovens, with two other people, which was their job, with two long metal tongues, which one of them was grabbed by the head and the other by the feet, going into the oven. Now, this was done every day. Yes?
How many languages do you speak?
A few. Not all very good, but I can make out. Yes?
Okay, so now you can go around sharing your story, but after you first got to America, did you want to forget everything that happened to you at first?
Well, a lot of times you would, yeah, but you couldn't, you had nightmares and all of that stuff. But, thank God. I want you to know, go to school, you learn a lot, be successful, because this is the best country in the world. Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, with all your experiences that you've had, have you had a chance or a desire to write a book?
To write a book?
Yeah.
Well, like I thought, I'm a president of the Holocaust Organization in Cleveland, which we probably now, we have a lot more, but unfortunately, we run fast. So, we have people who write. There's one of them who's a professor, a Holocaust survivor, who writes books. But I don't write books. With that, Billy, you want to come up and do the closing remarks? Winners to come up to do the candlelighting. And Billy.
6 candles for the 6 million Jews lost, the 7 candles for the righteous Gentiles. Thank you very much. I'm Billy Soul, the Assistant to the Mayor for Community Relations. It's my pleasure to be sort of the city's lead on this project. We have a lot of folks that work on it. We just want to thank our chairperson, Mr. Dan Markowitz, our Jewish expert, Holocaust expert, Mr. Hexter, and our coordinator, Claire Heaston. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Leo Silberman to please come back to the podium. I'd like to present you with a small token of our gratitude. Being our speaker this year, and as always, it's really a wonderful thing to have someone who can come and share your experiences with us. We will forever remember your story and those of others that have come before you. We'd like to make this small token of our gratitude. We'd like to present this to you and also to the Cold Israel Foundation. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you again for coming. It was a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
We're just so grateful to so many people for making this possible, and we thank all of you for being with us. We thank our Holocaust writing arts winners for being with us today. Those first place winners will join us on a trip to Washington, D.C. on May 17th. And we want to thank all of you that have made donations to the Holocaust Memorial Foundation to make that possible. For those of you that would like to make a donation, there will be cards available as you exit the theater. Thank you so much for being with us, and we look forward to you joining us again next year for our 25th special anniversary. Thank you so much. And we'd like to ask Rabbi Sasonkin to give us a benediction, and then we will be excused. Thank you again, everyone.
We are in prayer today, a prayer to God to help us to make this place a better world. So I'll just like to use the Hebrew from a prayer that we do every time we remember someone who passed away, especially for the Holocaust. And it's called the Kaddish. And at the end of it, we say that the one who makes peace above should make peace upon all of us. So please rise. And I will sing it, and those who know can join me. Oseh shalom librav, hu yaseh shalom